Hello, and welcome to the North Coast Journal Preview. This is a show where we take a look at what's coming to this week's edition of the North Coast Journal. I am your host, Tanya Shrum, and we are joined by our illustrious California local news fellow, Annie Toe, and our arts and features editor, Jennifer Fumiko Cahill. Welcome to you both.
Thank you so much, Tanya. How are you doing today?
Well, it's a lovely love week, and we have lots to cover and lots of great events happening this weekend.
Right? Extended Valentine's Day, Friday through the weekend.
Yes. And hopefully maybe a few people have a 3-day weekend if you're lucky. Well, with that, we are going to our special guest who is going to bring us what's coming to this week's cover story. Annie, do you want to fill us in on this great read?
Yeah, so I wrote a story about Prop 36. After the November election, I wanted to write a story that focused on how some of the propositions would affect our local community. And I chose to do it on Prop 36 because there was a lot of local support with the DA and the sheriff and also the Fortuna City Councils expressing their public support on it. So I wrote a story focusing on that and how that would impact.
I think that it was so well written, and you really did a great job of breaking down that shifts in costs and consequences of these two propositions.
Yeah, one of the things that Prop 36 does is that it repeals a lot of what Prop 47 did, which includes changing some thefts and drug crimes from misdemeanors into felonies. And also, one of the new things that it added was a drug treatment mandate felony, which is where instead of getting charged for a drug-related crime, certain individuals can instead get drug treatment as their charge.
Which on paper sounds like a fantastic idea, but what I think you did a wonderful job of is breaking down exactly, what that means to our local community.
Yeah, I spoke with the sheriff and the district attorney, Stacey Eads. They both mentioned one of the things that they really wanted to do was have repercussions for people who would go in to small businesses and commit crimes that usually would, before Prop 36 was passed, would be charged as a misdemeanor most of the time. But now they will be facing bigger charges if they repeat it. And they're hoping that that will discourage people from committing repeat offenses. And one of the things that was brought up was how small businesses had given up at some point of even reporting these small crimes of thefts because they felt that there was no action being taken to punish these individuals.
And so is the sheriff feel that this is going to make a difference in that?
Yeah, he mentioned that he has even heard that there are people who are taking the initiative now to make reports, and also some are even starting to citizens arrest, get these individuals who steal from their store and keep holding them at their store while the police comes to get them now. well, back then, small businesses just let the individuals who commit these crimes just leave because it was, they felt that nothing would happen.
And the public defender you spoke to had a different feeling about the matter. Is that correct?
Yes, I spoke to public defender Luke Brownfield, and he mentioned that this actually would not be helping people who offend, especially with drug treatment. He mentioned that there isn't enough therapy programs to be able to handle the amount of people that will be getting these charges. So what will end up happening, according to Brownfield, is that people will get charged, not have a place to get the drug treatment, so they'll stay in jail until they are ultimately re-released because their time up in jail has passed and they have not received any drug treatment.
That's unfortunate. I think almost any community lacks enough mental health or addiction treatment, but that's definitely not the case in our community is just like that, obviously.
I did speak with Department of Health and Human Services in Humboldt County, and Christine Messenger said that there is an expectation of more referrals into the local programs. At the moment, they are not sure of how much there will be of an increase in people coming in, but that will just be something that they'll have to figure out as time goes on. But another thing I wanted to point out was that the repeal in Proposition 47 will also mean that a fund that was funded by Proposition 47 because of lower costs from prison admissions will now be gone. And that fund was for school programs from K to 12 and also mental health treatment. So one of the things that will be affected is future funding for some local programs like at the Eureka City Schools, or also we have the learning communities for school success programs that is funding the Office of Education. They have a grant right now for $700,000 that to help with chronic absenteeism for Humboldt County, because we have a problem with that, according to the superintendent, Kobe Smart. He says that we have a 27% chronic absentee rate, and that they are using this fund that they get to help combat it. So now they're going to have to look for other avenues to help fund this instead.
That's definitely another consequence. Well, before we move on, is there anything else that you would like people to know from your cover story?
Yeah, so there's a lot of divide between whether or not Prop 36 will ultimately benefit our community or it will make it worse. But one thing that I do know is that from both those who oppose and those who support, they say that it will just be something that we have to look for in the future of what actually happens. But they are just sharing what they are hoping or expecting for things to come.
I definitely see the divide between what the law enforcement, what the public defender said. I definitely want to say how much I appreciate your reporting and how you made it a lot easier to understand. It's a lot of really thick information.
Yeah, it was a lot of information to look through. I had to go through all of what the propositions were, the government documents. But it was interesting to look into and hearing from both sides, and I'm glad I got to work on it.
I also have to say, I always appreciate good graphics, and that was also something that you provided in the article. I may be biased, but I love a good graph.
I also want to point out that this is Annie's first cover story with us, and maybe first cover story in general.
I, it's my first cover story with the North Coast Journal.
All right. So cheers. Congratulations. We break a bottle of champagne over it.
Yay!
Well, Annie, you definitely came out swinging. It was an amazing story, and I encourage everybody to pick up this edition of the North Coast Journal and read the entire story for themselves and get educated on what we just voted on.
I know. Maybe we should look into this beforehand.
Possibly, right? I know the North Coast Journal tries. You just gotta stay informed. Well, thank you, and thank you for joining us. I'm sure this won't be the last time. And congratulations on an amazing first North Coast Journal cover story.
Thank you for having me.
Well, with that, we're going to shift over and talk to Jennifer about some stuff coming up this weekend. And again, another amazing story by Jennifer. What do you have for us this week?
Listen, I have every kind of love there is. I mean, not for me personally. My heart is a black and shriveled stone. But Colin Yo has a wonderful set list this week in which he starts off, I'm biased, he starts off reminiscing about being broke and sort of lonely and hopeless in Brooklyn in around Valentine's Day and hanging out in a bar that's decorated with all kinds of cupids and stuff, and that particular kind of young and enduring being broke and alone in a strange city. And in Brooklyn, I feel like he really got the sense of the snow wet sidewalks and bone deep cold, and that there are different kinds of love on order, that sort of period of his life was about different kinds of love, maybe not romantic soulmate love, but other things. And he's pointing to all the different kinds of love we could be celebrating over Valentine's weekend, not just your one and only, but in fact, what about love for everybody? Everybody that we could be reaching out and taking care of right now. Our friendships, the love of places. There's all kinds of possibilities that he's sort of hinting at us to open up for, and I am for it. If you don't have plans for Valentine's Day yet, you might think about, and I say this if you don't have plans, whether you are single or with someone or, several someones, on Friday, Valentine's Day, Ponies of Harmony is going to be, and if you know Ponies of Harmony, that means James Zeller and Kate Belknap. They are going to be putting on a fundraiser at the Sanctuary, which is kind of great, right? Let's talk about community love. And the show is called, they're putting together the fundraiser for Sanctuary, but it is in fact at the Synapsis, and it is called All About Love. And it is going to be a soup, salad, and bread dinner, which you can pay for. And the tickets are like $15 to $30, depending. And it is a fundraiser for the Sanctuary because, as you know, it endured a lot of damage from winter storms and stuff. So what a great way to help out your community and expand the love. If you flip the page, if you're looking at the paper journal, you will also see a, possibly alarming love story on the next page, because Mike Kelly's article on sea nettle baby making is in there, in which he makes the very strong comparison between how sea nettles sort of send out eggs and whatnot into the ocean in their feeding zones to people having sex in a grocery store. It gets weird, but you're going to learn a lot.
It gets weird. I'm so glad you brought it up.
But really, if you looked at the headline, "Sea Nettle Baby Making," you knew something was going to be up. So
Oh,
fair warning to all of you.
if not the
He always
byline of who wrote it.
That's Mike Kelly. That's not me. It
That's
was
Mike
Mike
Kelly.
Kelly. But yes, read it, enjoy, and learn about the stuff that you see washed up on our beaches. Also, if you are looking for something to go see, a date night movie, I have a couple reviews in this week's journal. One for Love Hurts, which stars Ki Hoi Kwan, who is, yay, Ki Hoi Kwan. You may remember him from, as a child, from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, or from Everything Everywhere All at Once, the man with whom we all want to do taxes and fold laundry with. It's a very fun, goofy action movie, and I love anything with Marshawn Lynch. I'm ready to have the Marshawn Lynch Film Festival of all of his cameo roles. I'm into it. I'm here for it. Let me know if you've got funding. And also the movie Companion about lady robots. I won't spoil anything for you, but it turns out that I'm just going to see and review all the lady robot movies, I guess. So yeah, send me your suggestions. And then, Tanya, the article that we were speaking of earlier is, I guess it's as Colin is sending out his love letter to the community and to the lonely, frozen people of Brooklyn, I send out my love letter this week to nerdy ladies who love literature, and also to the ladies of the Are We Dating the Same Guy Humboldt Facebook page, which is, bless you for the hours of education and entertainment that you ladies
Yeah,
are
they're doing the important work out there. Yeah.
I know lots of people are mad about that, but I'm like, are you really mad that women are literally talking to each other? Can you really be mad about that? So this week I put together an Are We Dating the Same Romantic Literary Hero? And it is built like the Facebook page group. However, it is the characters of Jane Eyre from, Jane Eyre, Bella Swan from Twilight, Blanche Ingram also from Jane Eyre. Don't forget about Blanche. Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice, and Kathy Linton from, that one, Wuthering Heights. And they are all kind of talking about their relationships and does anybody know this guy? Does anybody see any red flags? When really, when you look at the list, like if you go and Google what are the top 10, romantic heroes of literature, these dudes are all walking red flags. It's not good. It's bad.
Yeah, I'm surprised Kate Chopin was not thrown in there while you
Oh, wait,
were
which
at
one?
it.
Which one?
Kate Chopin.
Oh, yeah. There's so many. I mean, it's a target-rich environment. But, we have these sort of figures that we enjoy in these romantic stories and we're swooning and whatnot. But, like, ultimately, Rochester locked his crazy wife in an attic and lied about it and was about to do some bigamy, and also he was kind of mean. The same thing with really your vampire boyfriend. What are the red flags? You tell me, sweetie. I don't know. But it struck me that we have all of these crazy, we feel bad about our own relationships and we're like, oh, why didn't I see this coming? And seriously, we have been trained since the age of reading to absolutely be drawn to red flags like moths to a light bulb. So that's kind of I'm sharing my love to both book nerd ladies and also just all of you who are out there running at red flags like bulls. We all do it at some point. I called it my 20s. And also just, I see the kind of hope in it. Occasionally I'll see a post on the Are We Dating the Same Guy site, and it'll be like, this guy is, he's got an I hate women tattoo across his forehead, and somebody's like, any red flags? And it's like, honey, the whole picture is a red flag. But we've normalized so much bad behavior as normal that we have this idea. And I kind of was talking to a friend about this today. All these books that I'm referring to are written by women, that they've made these heroes, these romantic heroes that are absolutely full of toxic behavior. But I feel like there's a kind of optimism in that, because you look around and you see toxic behavior because that is what the culture offers men, asks of men, etc. And especially in these previous time periods, now you have no excuse, bro. But you have this behavior, and the fantasy is not, oh, there was this wonderful man. The fantasy is that this awful man has a wonderful man inside of him that I just have to find. I might have to pull his ass out of a fire to find it, but it's in there. And so cheers to that optimism, and all the red flags.
Hey, we were at least lucky to live in the same time with Keanu Reeves. That's
true.
at
Oh my
least
God, knock
redeemable.
wood. Every day that a revelation does not come out to destroy that is a blessed day. I kind of want him to just go into hiding. And
Never. Never.
So that we never learn anything else.
I think he's knock on wood, but I mean, he's getting up there and he's pretty rock solid. So
don't jinx us like that. Why would you put that evil on us? Why are you doing this?
Because I believe he's the one.
That is very Matrixy. It's very Matrix meta, what you're doing.
I too, like Morpheus, believe he's the one.
But this is a very like Valentine's thing, right? Like no matter who you're dating on Valentine's Day, it's gotta be romantic, right? It's like,
well, and this year you can just get all your gals together and go to that other event on Friday night that we have not teased yet.
Oh, we have not. Okay, so on Friday is the first part. There's a 2-part event happening this week. The first part is the Mr. Humboldt, the All-Stars pageant.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, long ago, before pandemic lockdown, in fact, just before pandemic lockdown, there was the Mr. Humboldt annual pageant. Dudes go in with a kind of a persona, Mr. Whatever, and they perform and they sing and dance and do talents and swimsuit competitions. I recall one gentleman with a rubber ducky float around his waist during the swimsuit portion, swim cap, something like that. And they have all of these goofy sort of comedic things that are lampooning a pageant. And I judged it, the last one we had before lockdown. And I will say that I had my concerns because there was a gentleman on roller skates with little L's skating around the Arcada Theater Lounge with a cake that people were just putting their faces in and eating. And I was like, oh, I don't know about this. I feel like COVID, man. But the fundraiser, which has raised a lot of money for local charities, survived, and they're back with it. So the All-Stars pageant, which will feature, I believe, the last winner, Mr. Sister, the first drag performer to win. Go Queen.
Yes.
And then on Saturday night, there will be the crowning of the new Mr. Humboldt, which I will again be judging. Look out for me. I'll be the one with the opera glasses, judging in the most superficial way.
And don't forget to look for me. I will be in the taco cat dress.
Yes. I don't think I can miss you in that.
No, you won't miss me. Well, that wraps up our time for this week. This week's current edition of the North Coast Journal is available on newsstands now. Pick up your copy today. I want to give a shout out also to the article by the illustrious Thaddeus Greenson that will cover the possible new administration and the new president at our beloved educational institution. So read that article. And if you can't pick up your copy, you can also find it online at northcoastjournal.com. You have no excuse. Get out there, have some love for your community. I am Tanya Shrum. Thanks for being with us, and staying groovy and informed and supportive and loving here on the North Coast.